What is up, Insaners? How are you guys doing? Welcome to our Euro 2020 Fantasy Team Selection video for Matchday 2. We're on the Limitless chip this week, guys, and we'll be sharing our team with you today. We'll also talk about the best captaincy options for different days of Matchday 2 so you guys can maximize your score this week. Awesome, right? I have a feeling you guys will love today's video, and do remember to hit the like button. Smash that like button for me, guys. That'll be really helpful. Like, honestly, I don't have to stress how important today's video is going to be if you want to recover from a bad start in match day 1, or if you're looking to consolidate your rank or lead from the same week. So guys, do consider subscribing as well if you're new around here. We're trying to help a lot of Euro fantasy managers like you to enjoy the game and, well, get some kick out of it, and that's gonna be a lot of fun. Another important thing, guys, we did a strategy video yesterday on the Limitless versus the Wildcard chip. So in case if you are a bit confused in terms of what chip to go for, make sure you watch the video. I'm quite confident that video will help you take the final call. You'll find a link to that in the description below. Great, so let's get into it then. As always, guys, just a small note before we begin. Now this team is not 100% nailed, but it's pretty close to what we have in mind. Another thing, today's video will include a few choices that we might not suggest if you're leading or looking to maintain rank, or you're trying to play safe. So do make sure that you weigh the pros and cons of each player, guys, before finalizing your team. Now the first thing you'll notice here is that we aren't really going for any cheap players. I mean, it's not that cheap players are bad players, right? It's just that there are better premium options available for matchday 2. Having said that, we still have some really high value picks here. Now let's start with our defense. First our keepers and then our defenders. Now going with the obvious picks here, guys, Donnarumma is in our starting 11 and the France keeper, Hugo Lloris, on the bench, ready to come in case Italy don't keep a clean sheet. I feel it's highly unlikely, but it never hurts to have a backup in any way, so that really helps. Now guys, if you want to go a bit differential, you can look at the likes of Pickford or even Simon from Spain, who looks nailed to play the next game. Now coming to defenders, if you look at them, it's like an all-star team. I mean, it feels like we have attackers rather than defenders here. Spinazzola from Italy looked really good in his last game, super attacking, and this game could be something similar. Guys, the left wing back was definitely my man of the match in the first game. He'll always hold the width as Insigne drifts inside, and as such, he'll be a necessity when going forward. He's definitely a great option to have this week, guys. Our second defender is Meunier. Now the Belgium defender is the highest point scorer in the tournament so far, guys. Playing wingback is a huge advantage to a fullback, and he'll find himself in a very advanced role, and he will be on massive confidence, guys, after scoring that huge haul. But if you look at the overall scheme of things, I think he's my least favorite out of all the defenders in this draft. Now Belgium is probably going to have a tight game against Denmark, who were quite unlucky not to score against Finland. I doubt the same thing will happen in this game, guys, but yeah, they will be without Christian Eriksen, and that could be a huge miss in this game. Coming to our third pick, and this one is pretty interesting, guys, we have gone for Zinchenko from Ukraine. I think he's a pretty valuable option, classified as a defender, but plays in the midfield for his country. Now this actually might turn out to be fantasy gold for us, guys, as he can score goals, maybe even pick out a pass, and then we can also have a clean sheet with him. That's pretty cool, right? Now let's look at our next player. Our final playing defender to begin with is Dumfries from Netherlands. I thought he was the most impressive player in that Dutch game against Ukraine. He posted some really good numbers, both from an attacking and a defensive point of view. I think guys, he would have a good game overall, but it won't be easy. I'm sure Austria won't be pushovers, guys, and this could be another goal fest. The final defender who's on our bench right now is Jordi Alba, another attacking defender in this team, guys, and he's facing Poland. Now the interesting thing about this fixture is that Spain have to go all out. They can't take their foot off the gas, and that means you probably are going to see more from all the players. That also means a Spanish clean sheet, guys. It's pretty much on the cards, and Alba could be involved in terms of any attacking returns as well. Overall, all of our defenders are pretty attacking in nature, and we're pretty happy with this draft. Now there are a couple of options that you can go for instead of some of these players in case you want to go a bit differential. If you want to let go of a Belgium or a Dutch defender, you can go for Hernandez or Pavard. I think both options look pretty good from an attacking point of view, but Pavard, I hope I'm getting that pronunciation right, he might just be more nailed on than Hernandez, who is prone to a substitution with Luca Digne, replacing him on that side, guys. Another option could be to go for an England defender. It's difficult to predict who's going to start on the left or the right side of that defense, so no point of going for a Trippier, Walker or any other player. Instead, you can go for Stones, who probably looks more nailed on than Mings in case Maguire gets a start the next game. Now that was our defense done, guys. Now let's look at our midfield. I feel midfield is a bit tricky to pick, and I think this is where you can actually do a lot of things very differently. Lots of options to go for, guys. If you want to go a bit differential, I think Insigne is a decent option to go for. He's playing Switzerland Matchday 2. The midfielder opened his account in the first game and he will be full of confidence. I'm telling you guys, he's Italy's most important attacking player and generally he's involved in a lot of goals. That also means a lot of fantasy points for us. I honestly feel that Swiss will put up a harder test than Turkey, who were appalling to be very honest, but in an attacking sense, through Embolo and Xherdan Shaqiri, but that's probably more of a headache for the Italian defense than their attack. Our second midfielder, guys, is Yarmolenko from Ukraine. Yeah, we're going a little heavy on the Ukraine team. Now, guys, he arguably has the easiest fixture in the tournament, North Macedonia. They will definitely struggle against Ukraine's quality, and Yarmolenko has already registered an attacking return. He'll definitely look to build on that as well. I think Ukraine must win, and winning big would be a huge advantage, so I expect an open game. Now, if you want to go a bit differential, you can go for Malinovsky, who could be another good option, but I think he's more suited to the wildcarders or people using a free transfer than those on the Limitless chip. Coming to our next player, and we've gone for Wijnaldum, guys. So, not the most exciting pick on the Limitless chip, but the role that he plays in the Dutch team really suits him, guys. It's a lot more advanced than what he's played at Liverpool or he will play at PSG, and he's been brilliant in terms of attacking output for the Netherlands team. Guys, Austria should be a close encounter, but I feel Wijnaldum could get something from that game. Now, one thing that really bothers me is that back three of Austria. I think that might limit the attacking output of Wijnaldum, and you'd probably be right to look at some other options in midfield, and that could be absolutely fine. Now, the two other midfielders that we have on the bench right now are Sterling and Perisic, guys. I think these moves are more from a differential perspective. I still feel there is a bit of risk with Sterling in terms of his place in the squad. Now, Southgate has generally shown a lot of faith in him, guys, more often than not, but if you want to go a bit safer, then Foden could be your pick. I think other than that, I don't really fancy any other English midfielders. Now, the other pick in our team is Perisic. I think generally you would want to avoid most of the fantasy options from this particular game, guys. Having said that, Croatia definitely have to win this game to stay in the tournament, and that means that players like Perisic would have to step it up. Another reason that I've gone for him is because he's only owned by 1% fantasy managers right now, guys, but his place in our squad is probably the most at risk. Nevertheless, he's still a great differential pick in this squad. Now, in terms of alternate options, guys, you can go for Forsberg, who plays for Sweden, and he faces Slovakia in Matchday 2. He's also not going to be a very popular option, but he has someone to keep a close eye on. A couple of more alternate routes could be Ferran Torres or Dani Olmo. Though I prefer the latter, as he looked pretty decent against Sweden, but he couldn't convert a couple of decent chances. That's not really a deal breaker, but I'd probably not go for these two options. Guys, another very interesting thought is that you can look at the Belgium midfield. There are two heavyweights in there, KDB and Eden Hazard. Now, we still don't know if both of them are gonna start, or probably even one might start. We can probably wait for some news, but I'm pretty sure not a lot of managers will go for these two guys. A potential to gain some points? Maybe. Not 100% sure. It's a huge risk for sure. It might just be worth it. Now, guys, there's a lot of talk about France and their midfield. So many people are talking about Paul Pogba, but I personally don't feel that he's a great fantasy option. He doesn't score a lot of goals, he's not on penalties, and his expected assists for France are also not that high, so I'd personally avoid Pogba. There's another option in the French team, Kingsley Coman. I think he's still a better option than Pogba, but I would rather have two forwards from France than a midfielder. Let's talk about the forwards now, guys. As you can see, we've gone for the double France attack. Griezmann and Mbappe, it's full heavy France. It's a combination of a popular pick and a good differential. Now, with Karim Benzema likely to be out, guys, both players will be the source of the goals. In terms of quality, Mbappe would have an edge over Griezmann. I think he's a better player and the system revolves around him more than anyone. The other thing is that, guys, Hungary played pretty well against Portugal for majority of the game. They felt flat at the end, but they could still frustrate France for large parts of the game. So France have to be switched on for the entire game, guys. Nevertheless, it's an explosive combo for the Limitless chip. Now, the third striker that we've gone for is Harry Kane, guys. We've kept our faith in him. I know I'll get a lot of stick for this, but in my opinion, the England skipper is definitely among the best strikers in the world, and he has world-class creativity behind him. I feel Scotland can't afford to play too cautiously, guys. They need to get a result, and once England get one goal, I mean, it's just gonna take one goal, and that's gonna open the floodgates, and we could really see a huge score. Now, Kane had a pretty average game against Croatia, but this game could be quite different from that. Let's say if you're looking to even differentiate further, then there are a couple of options to target as well. We've not gone for Lukaku and Depay, guys. They're very popular picks. We personally are looking to be quite different from the crowd who already have these two strikers. Actually, I don't even think they have the best of the games this week. You can actually get away with not having them in your team for Matchday 2, guys. Look, if you are on your Limitless chip, you might as well do something different, right? Now to gain that differential status, guys, you can consider the likes of Artem Zuba from Russia who plays Finland, and there could be something for him in this game. There's also Alexander Isak, who can be a huge differential against Slovakia. Now both the picks are not going to be popular, and if they do well, you can gain massively, guys. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this team. I think it's a really good team in terms of attack with some exciting differentials. We still might move in for a couple of more differentials, guys, before the deadline, especially from that Belgium team. But other than that, I think we're pretty set for Matchday 2. Guys, let me know what you think about this team. Do you feel we can have better players in this team? I would love to know your thoughts. Now let's talk about captaincy. I know there are a lot of options to go for in terms of captaincy for Matchday 2. There's one huge fixture to target on day 1, that is Italy versus Switzerland, guys. And though there are a few options from the Italians, the captaincy is going to be spread around quite a bit. The best options in my opinion are Immobile and Insigne. Both these players look pretty nailed for day 1, guys. If you want to go a bit differential, then Spinazzola could be a brilliant move. In case if you don't want to target Italian players, you can also look at Zuba from Russia against Finland if you like to play your chances, but I think Italy is the go-to team. Coming to day 2 captaincy options, it's between Belgium and Netherlands. The teams they are up against are Denmark and Austria. Now that spells a decent chance for both Memphis Depay and Romelu Lukaku to do well. Guys, they are their team's talisman, especially Lukaku, as KDB might not start, and Hazard's form has been pretty poor and he's looked pretty rusty as well. Another incentive for captaining them is that mostly both are on penalties as well, so that could mean extra attacking returns, guys, if that situation comes in. Out of the two, Lukaku is the preferred one, guys, but Depay is also good in case you don't own Lukaku. The differential option on this day could be a Russian player. I mean, you're not going to look crazy if you captain a Russian player, absolutely. You can go for an attacker. There are a lot of options. There's Yaremchuk, Yarmolenko, and Malinovsky as well. I think all three are decent options and you can take your pick. Now day 3 is pretty straightforward, guys. England plays Scotland and Harry Kane, I'm mentioning him again. Harry Kane looks like the standout option. I know he didn't have the best of the games against Croatia, but then Scotland is probably a step down in terms of the opposition strength. If you want, you can also go for the likes of Phil Foden or Sterling, or if you're crazy enough, you can actually target a centre back if you're okay taking that risk. Now guys, if you want to differentiate even further, then Isak from Sweden or even Perisic from Croatia is a decent option. Coming to day 4, and that also gives us a couple of options. You can go for France forwards Griezmann or Mbappe. Out of the two, Griezmann overall looks like a slightly better captaincy option, especially if he's on penalties. Guys, another option is to go for someone from Spain. You can target Ferran Torres or even Olmo as a huge differential if you're chasing rank. I personally would avoid the Portugal-Germany game as it's pretty hard to call and it could go either way. Great, so who will be your captain for Matchday 2, guys? Let me know in the comments below. That'll be all from my side, guys. I hope you liked today's video. Give it a thumbs up if you found it useful. Make sure you take in all the possible information and don't get overwhelmed before pressing that Limitless button and finalizing your team. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions regarding the same. I'll be absolutely happy to help you out. We'll also be doing a deadline stream an hour before the Matchday 2 deadline, guys. So in case you really don't know what you have to do or if you have any questions, do join us for that. We'll also be posting our final team on Instagram, so in case you're not able to join us for the stream, you can check it out there. The link to our channel will be in the description below. If you enjoyed all this time, guys, you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. We do a lot of fun stuff here, plus you'll also be up to speed with all our upcoming videos. Great, all the very best for Matchday 2. I'm signing off. I hope you really have a great week, and I'll see you in Saners next time.